What has Haumole Olakau'atu done wrong?
I knew you were going to start with that one.
I'm furious. I'm livid. And it's not just my manly bias. I am absolutely pissed off that we haven't chosen him. So this team that completely underperformed until a man got sent off, the only player to suffer a consequence was Haumole Olakau'atu. I think a lot of New South Wales fans are happy that it's Mitch Moses in there.
Are they?
I don't think it's diabolical. I think Mitch Moses is great. But I really want Ethan Strange. And you're right, I don't see how he's going to get on the field.
I'm getting pretty sick to death of this trope of we need to pick players on form. Why are we perpetuating this lie? Why do we continue?
It's not true, is it? Welcome back to another episode of Rugby League Forever's podcast, brought to you by Bet365 Injury Protection. If your player goes down before halftime, your same-game multi and your multi's odds are recalculated, keeping your bet alive. If we haven't met before, I'm Alex, also known as NRL Soapbox, joined by my co-host Alex as well. Hey, Al.
How's it going?
Good, mate. In the interest of full transparency, we are recording a little bit later today because I did almost soil myself. Why can't you find a bathroom in North Sydney? That's an episode for another time. Al, what have we got in store today?
I'm glad you found the bathroom.
Yeah, very relieved.
Yes.
In many ways. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
And it only took 15 minutes to achieve that enlightenment.
What else do you guys want to know about my bowel movements?
Look, we've got a lot to cover here, and the most pressing things that need to be discussed. Firstly, Origin teams came out for Game 2 for Queensland and New South Wales.
Lots of controversy.
There's a few major points, and I know it's probably going to get a little bit heated because there's a lot of things that we agree on, and there's a bunch of stuff as well that we probably don't quite see eye to eye on some of these selection decisions.
Yeah, that's right. You're wrong in some parts, is what you're saying. Yeah,
and you're wrong in some parts as well. You know,
Doesn't
potentially.
I have the confidence of a tall man.
But firstly, I just want to touch on these live streams.
Okay, yeah.
The New South Wales Blues, this is they've done 3 live streams for 2 team announcements.
Yep.
And
questionable.
2 of the live streams were within a 12-hour period of each other. I think they need to kill those because the aura that I'm seeing drain from the New South Wales team and from the CEO and the coach is just so damning that it's becoming hard to watch. I was sitting there thinking, I'm actually losing. I feel confident for a win before the teams are announced.
Yeah.
Watching him announce the team, I then think we're going to lose. Just based on the fact that he doesn't even know the team 1 through 20 off the top of his head. I know the team 1 through 20.
Yeah.
I know 2 years ago's team. It's shocking to me. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I feel like our brand new podcast, firstly on a production level, is more professional than the Rugby League's live streams of the biggest moment. It is such a monumental moment.
And the media wall's there and it's off.
Why is it shaking?
And I can see the black on the side. It's not gone the whole way.
Why is the video shaking? Or maybe Laurie's shaking. I don't know. Maybe he's shaking. Maybe he's so rattled.
Or the media guy. It's like,
what am I doing here the day after already doing a live stream? I'll tell you why you're here again, Laurie. Because you announced the team in alphabetical order. We want to know what the numbers are.
Yeah.
So that was a bit crazy, wasn't it?
And then we're like, well, we're a bit uncertain about some injuries. Apparently Crichton was one of those ones. I was shocked that he was then named in the alphabetical order squad to then get dropped completely off. It's not like it was, Mark was named in the team and then, or, however they wanted to do it. It was like a complete new person the next morning. I was just like, it just felt, I don't know. Bush League.
It was Bush League is a great way to describe it. Like my thought was maybe they were really sweating, maybe Critter would be okay. But every other time that's happened for a squad announcement, you just replace the player.
Yeah.
And they've already done it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty poor. And you're so right though. It's like, it doesn't fill us with confidence.
No.
I think Laurie Daly suffers, and he's copping so much, right? But I think he suffers from not being able to communicate and explain his rationale. My read is he's a very intuitive, perceptive leader. And so he's making decisions, of course, in consultation with his team. But at the end of the day, he's going with his gut. And I'm not here right now to say his gut is wrong. But what he doesn't do is communicate in a way that rallies the New South Wales fan base to actually get behind the team. Instead, we're left going, that answer doesn't make sense, Laurie. And so I think it's just getting him, I feel like he hates him. And I feel like it's undermining the confidence in New South Wales.
Yeah, you make a really good point around just that inability or like seeming, like it seems like there's an inability to sort of communicate ideas and create sort of airtight defenses to some of his decisions. When we look at those decisions, 1 through 20, what kind of there's a bunch that stuck out for me,
Okay.
but people care about that a little bit less.
Okay.
I want to know
Yeah.
what stuck out for you from the one all the way, the whole squad. What were the big glaring issues in your mind, and what were the things that you loved?
Okay, the massive controversy. Let's start with that, and then we can go more analytical. Let's get the emotions out.
Mm-hmm.
What has Hamole Olakau'atu done wrong?
I knew you were going to start with that one.
I'm furious. I'm livid. And it's not just my manly bias. I am absolutely pissed off that we haven't chosen him. So this team that completely underperformed until a man got sent off, the only player to suffer a consequence was Hamole Olakau'atu, who, by the way, led the forward pack in meters gained, led the forward pack in post-contact meters, is playing out of his skin in the competition. Code Sport did an analysis statistically of the best attacking team and the best defending team across the competition. Do you know who got the best attacking second rower and the best defending second rower for both teams? Hamole Olakau'atu. What are we doing dropping this guy out of all the players that underperformed in Origin 1? And by the way, he didn't underperform. It wasn't his best game, but there's no way you can say he had a shocker, but he's the only one to pay the price.
Well,
I'm furious.
You're passionate about this one.
Yeah.
You make a good point.
I'm passionate because I care and I'm right.
Let me ask you this then about Hamole. All of the stats say,
Yeah.
he's this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the stats are the stats.
Yeah.
How much of that, in your mind, is to do with how he's been unlocked by Kieran Foran as the coach, and then comparing that prior to his arrival and his performance to begin the season? Do you think that there's some X factor that he brings that's helped him that Laurie Daly's not capable of, doesn't have, and isn't able to get the best out of him?
Okay, so I will acknowledge the monumental impact that Kieran Foran has had on Hamole's career. I think Willie Mason even said that New South Wales should send Kieran Foran in to be.
I agree with
but
that.
Here's what I will say: Olakau'atu is a professional. He's made it to Origin before and earned his place in getting Origin selection without Kieran Foran's influence. And again, he didn't play badly. One error and then one error that's really Teddy's error. Outside of that, he had a decent game, and it's not his fault he didn't touch the ball in the first 20 minutes. His teammates were dropping it left, right, and centre. He got gassed because he couldn't get involved in attack, so he was leading the kick chase, and it absolutely cooked him. So I think it's really unfair to say that, Hamole's only brilliant when Kieran Foran's there. Hamole's played Origin before, multiple times. He's earned his position.
He's been dropped multiple times.
Yes, because the coaches aren't playing him correctly. They've got to get Hamole ball. They're not doing that. And again, the reason for that in this game, in game 1, is because they kept bloody dropping it. So I just think, what I'm saying is, like, I don't think Hamole has shone in Origin yet. But I don't think he had a shocker that warranted him being dropped. That's outrageous to me.
Is it a matter of so I mean, we talked about this before as well, and we just touched on it then. Laurie's not the same type of coach as Foz, and he's probably not even an Origin coach, which is, maybe that's a little bit disrespectful, but that's just kind of what has been, projected over the past couple of years and prior, and everything that we've seen in between.
Yeah.
So is it just a matter of it takes a certain type of coaching and a certain type of nous to get what needs to be get what is needed out of him in order for that high performance he's just not capable of, so he just needs to play the percentages?
Well, let me introduce a premise to you. A great Origin coach gets the best out of high-performing talent. So I don't want to appeal to the lowest common denominator saying, well, Laurie's not a great coach, so therefore we shouldn't choose the best players. Laurie should rise to the occasion. Hamole Olakau'atu shouldn't be paying the price if Laurie Daly can't get the best out of him.
But now that we're stuck with him, it's like, well, what's one to do? Because yes, you don't want to. I 100% agree. You never want to pander to the lowest common denominator. But we're in this position now. He is the coach. He is running this squad, and we're here. So how do you reconcile that?
Well, I just don't think that the argument is neat.
Yep.
But I don't think it is conclusive, and here's why. Mitch Barnett, Adam Fanua-Blake, Stephen Crichton, Brian To'o, all had worse games than Hamole Olakau'atu.
Yep.
There's no, but they're back in.
Mhm.
So it can't. If it was about, I haven't been able to get the best out of this player, he's kept players that had pretty ordinary games.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a concern. I was very worried when I saw Adam Fanua-Blake.
I don't think he'll play. I think he's taking Jacob Saifedi's role.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope
too.
so.
Me too.
The other one that he swears he will use, but I'm wondering how.
Yeah.
Ethan Strange.
Yeah.
Not named at 6 to me, I thought was even more tragic than the Homole dropping.
So in our episode last week, I made a huge defense and plea that Laurie Daly choose Ethan Strange, even though he had said he was going to choose Mitch Moses. That one I don't think is a diabolical decision. I think a lot of New South Wales fans are happy that it's Mitch Moses in there.
Are they?
They talk about his kicking game, that if Nathan's under pressure, we can, and if we find ourselves in those positions again, that Mitch Moses can kick us out of trouble. Mitch Moses has also been a fantastic servant for New South Wales. He's been brilliant, so he does deserve to be in that squad. I don't think it's diabolical. I think Mitch Moses is great. But I really want Ethan Strange, and you're right, I don't see how he's going to get on the field.
I just don't see. And if it is, it's going to be in a way that is probably going to be more damaging to his Origin career than help.
Yeah, I hate playing players out of position.
And in a scramble in the last 20 minutes as well, or in an emergency
a lot of pressure
situation.
to put on a young fella.
It's tough.
It's only just gotten a feel for it. So,
I'm getting pretty sick to death of this, and I've heard this now for 8 years. This trope of we need to pick players on form.
Okay, yeah.
From both Queensland and New South Wales coaching staff over the years. Why are we perpetuating this lie? Why do we continue?
It's not true, is it?
It's not true, and it's never been. It's demonstrably false.
Yeah,
and it is every single year. We abandon form constantly, and I feel like Laurie's the worst offender of it over the last 2 years. It's in such a tragic way. Moses, as good as he has been at times in single games, hasn't finished a series properly. And the big decider game, yes, 2024, amazing, congratulations.
Yeah, I won't take any Mitch Moses slander.
Well, guess what? We're also in 2026, and he hasn't played in 5 weeks.
So he's not picked on form. Queensland have actually been always guilty of that. They've typically picked players they've picked Reece Walsh again.
Yes.
For the first time this series, who's been terribly out of form. He's a superstar. I think he's going to kill it, but he's not in form. So I think, and Billy's answers were just as vague as Laurie Daly's. Billy was even more vague. Billy was like, "We're going to keep that in house." Why? You embarrassed, Billy? What's going on?
I don't know if it was that. I sort of, first of all, I thought he should have been in the squad.
Exactly. I think he got it wrong. He should have just said, "I got it wrong."
Yeah, you're right there. He definitely should have said, "I got it wrong."
Yeah.
But then it's also like we're coming into game 2. It's a must-win situation for him, and I don't think he would want to be in a situation where Queensland lose and Reece Walsh was watching that game on TV. You know what I mean? Like you had to have that tool there as an option in any scenario that that was going to result in you trying to get a win.
Yeah.
Did you notice when he was confronted by that reporter?
People have made comments, I think, about talking about your form and the Broncos. How do you feel about your own form? And once you get these blokes, whatever way you feel about it, will you be able to lift for an Origin game?
Oh, I think the only opinion matters is your guys, I guess. So
no, it's true. What do you think of your form?
What do you think of it?
I think you go all right, mate. Look better than I could do.
I appreciate that.
So how do you go?
No,
what do you think about
it.
your own form,
Thanks,
mate? I'm not being a smart ass. I'm just.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No, that's all right. I think I'm just looking forward to working here in Queensland and put my best foot forward for Queensland and doing my best throughout the week.
Did you watch that?
Reece Walsh's one.
Yeah.
Bit of gaslighting going on. I was actually like, fair enough, Reece can play that game, but I think the reporter got a little bit shy, didn't he? Because you could easily put it back about, hey, Reece, this is a press conference for you to answer questions, not me.
Yeah.
So, put it back on him.
I'm glad you agree, because I was a bit like, mate, why are you getting snippy with the reporter?
It's strange to get snippy, eh? He must be feeling it, because I feel like he's typically more generous in press conferences. And even the week before, he was actually very honest, saying, I haven't been up to scratch. I haven't had form. I've been below Queensland standards. So it was quite a significant change in demeanour.
I just, when he started saying like, oh, well, I guess it's, it's your guys' opinion. And
it was, which was so sarcastic.
That's the only one that matters. And it's like, well, actually it was.
I agree, Reece.
It was the coaches.
I know,
game.
it was exactly.
That's why he weren't selected.
Yeah. So coming back to this picking on form scenario, So you could say Dylan Lucas has been picked on form, except that Homole Olakau'atu's been in better form.
Yeah, he has.
So
He has been in better form.
I'm with you. They don't pick on form. It's throwaway lines to get away from the question. I think I'm just processing that now. They're lined up with their cliches. Like he just gets Origin. He's a Queenslander. You can't not pick him. He's just been in great form. He's going to rise to the occasion. What are these one-liners that they throw out? I think it's that. We're probably analysing something that they gave no thought to. Yeah.
Well, the other thing was, after Stephen Crichton suffered his injury, ruled out.
Yeah.
Bit of a reshuffle there. We've got McLean starting, which
Yeah.
I was super happy about.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna hate this.
Okay, here we go.
So brace yourself.
All right.
I
You're
wasn't
going to say Val Holmes.
no, not again. Although, Kohler, for me, when I'm thinking of like, I just don't know if I saw enough where I was like super excited to have him back in the wing position for us so desperately when there are, in my view, better options, McLean being one of them, who could have just gone immediately to the wing.
But then who would play centre?
I mean, and you're going to hate this too.
Yeah.
I was so ecstatic when I saw Marky Mark get added to the squad.
Yeah, you can say his name, Nawaqanitawase. Yeah.
I would have loved to see him start and play an Origin game before he leaves for rugby. And I think he would be the perfect Origin player.
So what? So right now we've gone with Casey McLean and Kohler, centre and wing. What would you have done? Because I'm going to make a defensive Laurie here.
So I would have done. There was two options.
Okay.
Firstly, you could, and Jimmy actually made this point earlier. You could have like reversed them. You could have had Kohler centre, McLean on the wing.
Okay. Yeah.
Which they're both playing in position.
Yeah. Sure.
Alternatively, I was thinking you could have McLean centre, Mark wing, or Mark centre, McLean wing. I like both.
So and you've brought up Kohler not having a standout game. Once again, New South Wales were bad. The players that
he did nothing wrong.
He did nothing wrong. He did all the hard yakka. When they finally got it to him on a wing, he made a line break into a very dangerous position, which resulted in the game-changing moment. So Kohler, and he was very safe under the high ball. They peppered him. They tested him. He delivered. So he did everything that was required of him without being a standout. But it's similar to like Nathan Cleary didn't really stand out until the New South Wales had momentum. It's not fair to say he didn't have a solid game and deserved to be dropped. Same as Homole Olakau'atu. Again, everyone's being attracted to how Casey McLean played when he came on against a team that was a man down in a very different game situation. This is not to slight Casey. And then when he came out and played the Warriors, he was unbelievable.
He was unbelievable.
So he's earned his spot and he's kind of demanded you select me. I like the idea of him playing in position. Either way, I actually like the idea of Kohler being centre and McLean being...
I'd go that before, by the way. That would be option
The issue is going to be, I think there's a huge vulnerability there that they're two young rookie players playing.
Mm-hmm.
But Laurie made a defense of like, we've done really well with new talent. And I actually think the credit to Laurie's coaching from this Origin campaign is that the new talent that he's brought in has played very well.
Mm-hmm.
So Ethan Strange, McLean, Kohler. So he's actually done very well at activating and inspiring and motivating and giving a good game plan to the younger players, or the new players, and not necessarily younger, but definitely new. So I would back Laurie on what he wants to see there. I see the argument for Mark Nawaqanitawase. He's only just back from injury. He had a great game.
Incredible game.
Now, people who know the X's and O's of the game better than I do say he's got severe defensive vulnerabilities. And also, he's got some crazy plays, which could end up with a great try, or could also end up with a 90-metre intercept for the opposition. So there's some he's got the X factor, but he's also got the question mark. I think McLean and Kohler have X factor without as many question marks.
That's fair. There's a little bit of that error concern, although at the same time, those same error concerns exist for players like Homole and a bunch of others in the NRLs. And, we turn a blind eye to that because we want that X factor and that hard work so badly. Do you feel like there's...
He won't play, though. No, Mark.
No, he won't play. I'd love... Unless there's some emergency situation, he won't play. I would love to see it happen. I think that he would be Origin box office, by the way.
Yeah, he could be a superstar. Yeah.
Do you think that there...
If we lose, maybe he plays game 3.
Which would... Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, but I don't want that. I want to win.
I want to win too. but it would be such a great consolation prize for a dead rubber. Do you feel like when you look at like the teams and Queensland's teams right now, where's the experience risk? Where are the defensive mismatch?
Well, you would say, okay, going into game one, you would have said Sam Walker was a huge vulnerability.
Yeah.
But we would be talking about him as player of the match.
Yes.
If not for what happened. So I've probably been proven wrong there that Sam Walker has risen to the occasion. And so well done to him. I like that they've brought in Fini Fuiaki. He's damaging. And in fact, I thought he's their answer to Homole Olakawatu, but we've decided we don't need that anymore. So I think that's really
mismatch
great.
there.
Yeah, I think the thing that's interesting is that losing Carrigan and bringing Ruben Cotter into lock. Ruben Cotter's definitely best position is lock, but he's been unbelievable for Queensland on the edge. He's absolutely overperformed and done a brilliant job for them. So I'm curious to see how that goes because they put Nicola in there, right?
He's
so
starting.
I think that's a vulnerability there. I think that switch, which was done by necessity, is a bit of a vulnerability. We don't know that's not a sure thing. That's not a certainty for Queensland anymore. Whereas wherever Ruben Cotter plays, it is. So that could be a real risk for them.
You're Queensland's coach right now.
Yeah.
What?
I'm just going to keep that in house, man. No answer. We're still Queenslanders.
Oh man,
nonsensical thing can I say?
In a toxic hypothetical world, you're Queensland coaching staff.
Yeah, I get Origin.
What do you see as New South Wales' biggest vulnerability and experience risk right now? When you look at the team, what are you focusing on? What are you attacking? What are you trying to dial in on?
I think you've got to target McLean and Kohler for the experience risk
Mm-hmm.
because if you get in their head. I definitely think McLean has shown, though, that he has the ability to get that mental composure.
Mm-hmm.
The game where I think that his career completely changed is when he stood up to Critter when Penrith played the Bulldogs,
Mm-hmm.
I think, last year. And Critter was trying to get in his head, dominate him, bully him, and McLean just owned him.
Yeah.
Kohler hasn't probably had that same testing moment. He did well in Origin 1, but I think he's still proving himself as an Origin player. And if he gets the wrong kind of calls or the wrong kind of plays, or if he makes the wrong kind of error, he could get rattled, and they could keep peppering him and going for him. But in terms of the biggest vulnerability, I still think it's how they've organised the New South Wales pack.
Yeah.
I think anyone who's really into footy and goes for New South Wales is begging for Yo at prop, Cam Murray at lock. And
we didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
Cam Murray.
Cam Murray's still not starting.
Still
lock.
not starting.
And New South Wales looked so much better when he was on the field.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a really strange call. And I think there's a risk that our forwards, New South Wales' forwards, get gassed again. The difference, though, is that it's going to be impossible to gas Payne Haas. So that's probably something that hasn't got headlines yet, partly because Brisbane have been out of form.
Yep.
But Payne Haas is back. So that's going to probably, all those vulnerabilities I just shared, well, Payne Haas covers a lot of weaknesses.
And Payne has looked good for Brisbane. Brisbane haven't looked good, but Payne's looked good.
Do you reckon you would target Mitch Moses? He's coming back from injury. He might be a little more.
Yes, 100. Yeah. This is the biggest stress that I have, and I was gonna ask you what you were gonna actually, money on the line. What's your prediction for game 2? But I tell you what, I cannot get behind a half that has not played in over a month. I can't do it for a return game. Cannot be a series clincher.
You wouldn't put Tom Trbojevic back in after an injury.
Never, never,
because he's vulnerable. He hurts. That hamstring's very vulnerable. But Mitch Moses is very equal to. In fact, he's missed more games than Tom Trbojevic.
He's a way worse injury risk.
It is a huge risk.
I don't know. I would be targeting him. I mean, and you already know how much more physical it is. Those those last kick tackles. Like he's just going to get.
But it's Mitch Moses. He's such a competitor. He rises for Origin. The man played for us with a broken back, so I think he can rise to the occasion.
Okay.
But we are discussing is what's a weakness or what's a vulnerability.
Yes, he can.
Target. And
yes,
it'd be Moses, Kohler, McLean.
He can rise. I get it. Like, and we have this discussion so much, but I'm always like, I don't really care. Like, he played with a broken back, and we lost that game. I don't want injured players on the field when we're trying to win.
Yeah.
Like, we only have to win 2 games a year.
Yeah.
Can we just put the best fucking players on the on the field and play the game the way that it needs to be played in order to get the dub? Like, it's not.
I hear you. It's
rocket
not,
science.
But I just don't think it's diabolical to have Mitch Moses. I want Ethan Strange, and Ethan Strange, whichever one you like. But I can see why Mitch Moses is there.
Laurie was pressed on this and talking about his the debutants and Ethan Strange, and he was like, it's not my. He's like, I'm not afraid of debutants. Like, they're our best players.
Yeah.
They're our best players in game one. I love them. Like, they killed it.
Yeah.
What's the point? And this comes back to your point of not being able to synthesize and communicate whatever's going on up there, which could be nothing.
Yeah.
What's the point of taking that position on form? We look at form. Our debutants are great. We want to seed these young guys in. Blah 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 blah, and then. Yeah, we're going to bring the guy in that hasn't played yet.
Yeah, it just comes back to how Laurie operates. I don't think Laurie cares about developing a consistent logical argument. So he's just answering question by question because, yes, he's betrayed his thing. Like, we get the best out of debutants, but we're not going to. But he did say Ethan Strange is going to get on. So
he said that.
Yeah.
Do you believe it? I don't.
It's just going to depend on the game situation.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Cool.
Change of pace
Yeah.
before I get too annoyed.
Yeah.
Actually, before I change pace, final prediction. Do you have us actually winning?
Yes, I think New South Wales, like I've said last episode, Queensland played pretty much their best game. I think New South Wales, on the other hand, played their worst game that they played forever. They are only going to improve. As much as I hate that Hamoli Olakawatu has been dropped, I think Dylan Lucas is ripe and primed to have an excellent game. So I actually think this game's going to be a blowout.
Wow.
And it's going to be at least New South Wales by 16 plus. I think it's going to be a type of game where it's going to be pace.
Wow.
New South Wales is going to come home strong. Or they're going to blow out to such a great lead, and then Queensland are going to do like some garbage time points.
Chip away at
Yeah.
it.
What do you got?
For the game, I had New South Wales winning as well. I didn't have a 16 plus win.
Sure.
I had like an 8 point margin. But I'm nervous. I'm not, we have a great game 2 record, but we have a terrible record after we've won a game. Does that first game count as a win, in the hearts and minds
It doesn't.
of the players?
No, it doesn't. But here's my case. Nathan Cleary is on.
He's on.
Nathan Cleary. Payne Haas is back.
Yes.
Those two alone are a massive difference to the game 1 scenario.
I just am so wanting New South Wales to do what they need to do and Nathan to have another good... I want a Wally Lewis medal for Nathan. So we can finally
end the
the
combat.
nonsense
100%.
chat. He's still not even getting credit for game 1.
I know.
Still.
I've ranted about that on social media so much. That's just jealous, insecure people.
Yes, I
They're
agree.
not making logical arguments.
I agree.
They're just being little bitches.
I agree. NRL.
Yep.
Storm sit 11th on the ladder, 6-8 record.
Yeah.
They climbed sort of 2 spots.
4 wins in 5 games.
It's been great. Great game against Newcastle. Bit of a thriller. I thought that I love the way that Hughes and Munster are just like kind of pulling it all together now. Where do you sort of see Storm going from here?
No, I'm. Why are any of us happy that the Storm are looking good? We should be devastated. And I know my Manly bias is coming out here, but isn't it time that the NRL competition stopped having a dominant Melbourne Storm? Let's go back to that 2-month period where they just sucked, where they were horseshit. I don't want Melbourne Storm coming into the A. They're going to break the hearts of like a Newcastle or a Manly because they know how to play finals footy. They know how to win. I don't want champion players like the Melbourne Storm with the great coach Craig Bellamy getting into the finals. So yes, the Storm are on form, but they should have always been on form. So we must beat every single opponent that is, as a neutral fan, when a team goes up against the Melbourne Storm, you must be cheering them on. I don't care if they're the team you usually hate. We must not see the Melbourne Storm in the top 8. I am done with it. They've had their success. It's time for someone else. Okay, so that's my rant. It is not good news at all. No. You said they look great. I love Munster and Hughes and Grant. I don't want to love them. They're worthy of respect. No. Screw them. It's time for someone else.
Oh, well.
I mean, it's Panthers competition anyway, but what I don't want is Panthers Storm. Let's have some variety.
What's variety to you? Who if not then
Knights
then
or
who?
Eagles or Dolphins. Let's have something like, let's have an underdog to back. Because when it's Storm versus Panthers, it's not an underdog. It's 2 heavyweights going at it, and you're disappointed with whoever wins.
Well, it's interesting.
Unless you're a Penrith or Melbourne fan.
Yeah.
And if you're a Penrith fan, 50% of you were going for Parramatta 10 years ago.
Oh, that's so true. I mean, I have this guilt. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know why I kind of like Melbourne a little bit. Like I have this guilty.
This guy goes for Manly.
I
by
know,
the
I
way.
know.
And it's like I kind of like Melbourne.
No, Drew's shaking.
Don't
his
bring
head
Drew
because-
into this.
No, he feels
he's
like
not on the mic. I'm
he's-
the one grilling you.
He feels like I've got no
Hey,
allegiance.
do you guys want to see what a trader looks like?
Yeah, everyone says that.
Yeah.
Everyone, because I'm a fan of the game. I'm a fan of the game. I have my
Yes,
team.
and I just made the argument that to be a fan of the game means you do not want the Melbourne Storm getting into the 8.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, they will get into the 8. It feels like that's the trajectory right now.
Yeah, it feels inevitable because they should be in the 8.
But here's a question for you now.
Disgusting, despicable.
Well, Storm are 11th right now, so we can.
Yeah.
So we
But
can.
they're 2 wins away from top 4. They're
They
actually
are.
back in.
We
Yeah.
can relax at least for this moment. In
Yeah.
this moment right now, we're safe.
Yeah, they got to buy, but yeah. Okay.
So you've got Storm,
Yep.
who are 11th. You've got Brisbane,
Yeah.
who are 12th.
Oh, how bad are they going?
Bulldogs that are 13th.
Yeah.
And Raiders are 14th.
Yeah.
Interesting,
Mhm.
considering that all 4 of those teams were top sides.
Yeah,
Last
last year.
se-
They're
last year.
dominant sides last year. Yeah.
What's changed? What has
Okay.
brought all of these teams down to the bottom rungs?
Well, there's one key, large factor, which is obviously the rules have changed.
Yes.
And Melbourne have really struggled there. The Bulldogs have struggled terribly as well. I don't think you'd say that Brisbane and Raiders have struggled with those rules. Raiders maybe a little bit with their discipline. They didn't realise how many 6-agains are going to get blown. But here's my theory that I'm working on at the moment. And anyone listening maybe or watching, let me know what your thoughts are. So all 4 of those teams screwed up with their spines. So the Bulldogs, that's the famous story. They shipped out Marnie and Sexton and brought in Hayward and Galvin. The Raiders lost Fogarty, but not only did they lose Fogarty, they switched sides. So Strange was dominating on the left, who's now moved to a right-sided player, so that Ethan Sanders with his left foot can play, as a rookie, by the way, play on the left. The I'll get to the Broncos. The Storm, they lost Pappenhausen. So Suafanglongo's actually been their best player, but their best player in attack. I think there was probably, especially early in the season, he just wasn't in position enough as a fullback.
Yep.
And so I think, and just even the chemistry and the link, you've had so many years together with Pappenhausen, that's a natural consequence. It's not a slide on Sewer. I think he's amazing. But they've certainly screwed with their spine, or it's been screwed with. And then, and that's the same for Canberra. It was screwed with by just circumstance. And then the Broncos have screwed with their spine.
Yep.
So Ben Hunt's been coming off the bench. Now they've been throwing in Duffy. Ezra Mam's gone. Form's gone through the toilet. Billy Walters obviously has done his ACL. Reece Walsh has been out of form. Their spine hasn't had consistency and stability. I think all of these 4 teams that have plummeted from essentially they were all top 4 teams actually.
Yeah.
Those teams we mentioned.
Yeah, they were.
They've all plummeted this season, and I think a key influence is the fact that their spines are completely different, or very different. They've been tinkered with to the point where it hasn't been as successful.
Is it beyond recovery for my outside of Melbourne?
It
Oh,
should be
that was
also
rage
out of. There should be no hope for Melbourne, just for the sake of justice for
Yes.
NRL fans.
Yes.
But I think it's definitely done for Brisbane. I think their season's done.
You think that's
I'm,
over?
I'm all about Madge Maguire, but I think it's done. I don't think they have the same spark.
Wow.
I think
That's a big call.
Well, because they've got they still haven't worked out what they're going to do with that spine. So I think that's a real issue, and I think they're in trouble. They're not going to make it. Raiders, for the same reason, they just haven't been able to click. And it's actually okay. Like, you got a junior rookie half. It's actually kind of crazy to think that they would have the same kind of season, and they totally overperformed last season. So I think they're out of form, and Broncos, by the way, just back to Broncos, their draw coming in is bad. Like, they got a really rough draw coming for the next few games. So if they won, they pretty much have to win 10 of 11 games to make the top 4.
Yes,
They're in trouble. Bulldogs, that game on Monday, they should have scored 50 points.
Oh my goodness.
And they could barely score 14.
That was and it kind of felt like when they got those 2 tries, I'm like, oh, they're on
it's
a roll
over.
here.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
done, stopped. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. Whatever they're doing, their spine doesn't work. I think that's been clearly established now. They're not making the top 8 either. They're definitely not making the top 4. So then,
You don't even have Bulldogs
in the top
climbing
8
to the top 8 at all.
With what form line should we think that they beat
I
a
don't know.
depleted Storm? Here are their 2 recent victories where they've gone uppity about. They beat a depleted Melbourne Storm and a depleted Parramatta Eels.
And Penrith.
Well, that was their one. That's their
Yeah.
That's very early in the season. That was
Yes.
the curse game, because then they lost 5 or 6
It was the
straight.
curse game. It was
So
the curse game.
yes, when they played against Penrith, whatever they did to play against Penrith, emulate that. Which of course, that's so easy. But the point is that when they get to an opponent's 20, they don't know what to do. It just gets stuck.
Yeah.
Like they need to play more like they played against the Storm, where they're a bit more dynamic and throwing the ball around. Because I don't know, it looks like they're overburdened by structure. And Lockie Galvin is firstly not a halfback, and also not the best at responding to structure. He's a eyes up, play what you feel and you see. And so often he'll do one out plays because he can see something, but he can't see how to make it for his teammates. So that's the Bulldogs. The Storm are the highest threat. Yeah, they'll probably make the 8. It's disgusting.
But it does feel like, as you said, it sort of feels like Penrith's season. We were chatting about this on the weekend. I mean, we have to talk about it. The Penrith win over the Tigers.
Hey, what do you think was the worst loss? The Broncos lost to the Titans, because that means they're now lost to last, second last, and third last, which is just crazy for defending premiers. Or the Tigers' complete thrashing. Which one was worse?
That's a great and very tough question. The answer is the Tigers thrashing.
Okay.
And I'm sorry,
Broncos, but yeah,
I'll tell you why I think it's. I'll tell you why I think it's the Tigers. This is the Broncos have a future, in my opinion,
Okay.
and Reece Walsh is, a star of the game, coming off a premiership, and with one of the greatest grand finals performances ever by any player.
Yeah.
Things will be. They've got a great coach.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. The Tigers. This is the pinnacle. This is what they've worked towards as a club and as an organization. They've reached this point, and it's like they're experiencing. It was the 5th greatest loss in NRL history, and a bunch of those in the list were from the 1930s. So it was so devastating, because it's just like, even when you get to the top of what you feel like, of operational success, and you've done all the right things, you get flogged by more than anyone's ever been flogged by.
So, okay, I can acknowledge...
And your star players going.
Yeah, I would... Okay, so there's a few things that you've said there. So I would agree that in terms of actually the result, it looks way worse. I can understand you having that position. I actually think the Tigers have so much more hope and a future than the Broncos. The Broncos are losing Payne Haas, and they're a club out of form.
They are losing.
Ben Hunt's hanging around,
Yes.
so that's still, again, their spine's going to be a real question.
Yeah.
There's Billy Walters doesn't know if he's going to get re-signed, so what are they going to do there? There's so many question marks about what their future looks like in terms of being a threat. And they've also got to find a defense assistant coach. So there's a lot of tumult going on for the Broncos. The Tigers, on the other hand, I would read that loss as them acknowledging, we're not there yet. It's like the players realise the Panthers are so good, and we're not there yet. Now, they should have shown more grit, substance, and character.
Yes.
But it was almost like okay, we had some hype, we're not there yet. But I think that's the point. It's we're not there yet. Have you seen that meme of like the two women going back and forth?
Yeah.
Yet.
Yes.
Yet.
Yes.
So that's the Tigers mentality right now. They got that yet mentality.
That's
their
such
star
a
player
nice
is
ball.
leaving, but he's kind of really underperformed. He's probably been in worse form than Reece Walsh, Jerome Luai.
This season?
So this season, yeah. So he is moving on, but they've actually looked in many times, they've looked better when they've had Adam Dewey and Jock Madden. So I think there's actually still a lot of promise and hope for the Tigers. They just had a really shit game.
Yeah, I mean...
really bad. But it's like, and just on the thrashing, this is a new era of football. The rules are crazy.
You think we're going to see more?
Momentum compounds and compounds and compounds. Yeah, it's like that Dragons Roosters game. That was just an abomination of tries. So I actually think you just got to wipe it. I think there's more. My argument is there's more hope. I actually think it's a worse result for Brisbane because it's kind of a confirmation of a sad reality of their 2026 season. Whereas the Tigers, it was a confirmation that they're not there yet.
That is such a good reference. I do feel like, though, it kind of just, the Broncos weren't really putting it together all season from the jump. It was injuries and it was, but Tigers came out strong. The number one defense in the NRL. Yeah, injuries hammered them. But then the squad, the team that was on the field was a good team for the Tigers.
I just don't think so. I think Tigers fans were super worried about not having Alex Twal. You know how there's just certain links.
I said this to Drew. I was like, so you think Alex Twal's a 68-point defender? Like
No, it's not that. Okay, so that's a speculative hypothesis. We can't hypothetical. We can't.
Yeah, I know.
So, but what I will say is that there's just some teams have key players that are necessary for their team to have a chance and succeed. Manly's defense always looks so much worse when Jake Trbojevic isn't there.
Yes.
The Tigers look so much worse when Alex Twal isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be other players that I can think of that are like just they need that player in the team.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's all on Twal and he's a 68
Yeah.
point reverser.
Yeah.
But perhaps he's a 28-point reverser. Maybe it's 30-0.
Well, I said maybe it's 48-0. And
Yeah, it's still
It's still
bad.
bad. It's still it's
They just got dominated, mate. That's the point, though. Firstly, the Panthers had so many Origin players back, and
Yes.
when Origin players come back to club footy, they play like the games in slow motion.
Yes, I know.
They're guns. So there's so much that went against the Tigers there.
Mhm.
Just chalk it up to a terrible loss.
just a terrible loss.
They got the squad. Their future's not over. They're still building, mate. This is why Benji didn't like the hype at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, he did. He did seem to shy away.
He
from
hated
that.
it.
And it
He
was
actually
probably for this
enjoyed the
exact
first loss.
reason.
He's like, you guys can stop talking about us.
Yeah.
It's a long season. So I think the Tigers just have to own it and go, that was the shittest performance we've ever seen. And we acknowledge we're not good enough yet.
Yeah. That's a good note. I'm going to play the clip just at the end of that, and
Very good.
I think that's a good way to end that. Look, we covered a lot of ground
Yeah.
there. It's going to be exciting. Obviously, it's the bye round, coming up.
Yeah, the split by. You know what? I have been. Usually, I hate what footy is like in this period. But the last time we came into an Origin period, the footy was really good.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful we see some
It's
good
fun.
footy. Yeah.
And then next Wednesday, game 2.
Oh my gosh, we're on. We're doing a post show on Thursday, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
So we'll be a day later for
That's
the
right.
several million people who watch us. Make sure you schedule it for Thursday,
And
not Wednesday.
On a serious note, though, almost 500,000 views across the first 2
amazing.
episodes.
Yeah, thanks so much,
Incredible
everyone.
response.
Crazy. I'm blown away by that.
Um,
How could you possibly want to listen to us? What's wrong with you? I almost soiled myself half an hour ago.
See, when you say things like that, I worry about the next episode's
yeah, sure.
performance. So
Okay,
just-
fair enough.
But I appreciate everyone jumping on, and thanks again.
Yeah.
We'll see everyone after game 2.
See you guys.
Welcome back, Jimmy, from Bet365, joining us again on the Rugby League Forever podcast to discuss all things odds. We had a pretty good week last week. It was up and down. There are a few things that we can sort of go over together, but first and foremost, what are we sort of looking at?
Well, before we get into all the juicy Origin stuff,
Yes.
I just want to expand upon you and Soapy's heated chat about the Melbourne Storm.
Oh yes, the one where he's wrong and I'm right.
So as a Manly fan as well, geez, we're all Manly fans here, but I just want to give you some context on the Storm. So you seem pretty high that they'll finish in the top 8.
They seem to be trending that way. Yes.
So if I was to give you some odds, what would you think they're paying at the moment to finish in the top 8?
Maybe $8.
$8,
No, it would be more like 18.
mate. $3.50 to finish in
What?
the top 8.
That's ludicrous. That's value.
So maybe there is a bit of same sentiments that you're feeling, that they are a good chance of finishing in the top 8. So
That is
I just want to
surprising.
put that out there before we get into the Origin, because as a Manly fan, same as Alex, I hope the Storm don't finish in the top 8, but there's always that casting shadow of the Storm, always coming right at the business end of the season. So we'll see, just throwing it out there, and let's just see throughout the season how much that changes.
We'll monitor that one closely. I don't know if 350. It's kind of hard to get around that. It's kind of hard to want to invest
Let's stay away
in
from
a
the
market
debt.
of that price. Unfortunately.
So let's talk all things State of Origin 2.
Yes, please.
So obviously the Blues coming off that controversial win in Game 1. Now we're heading down to AFL land, the MCG,
Yes.
where the Blues actually have a really great record
We do.
historically.
We do.
So they've won 5 of 6 games at the MCG, including 2024, where we had that massive Game 2 win. If you remember, that was a game where they went up 34-0 at half time.
I remember them all.
And then Queensland scored some garbage time tries towards the end, so we won't talk about that.
Mm.
So New South Wales have currently opened as the slight favourite. So they're $1.75 with us, and Queensland are at $2.10.
It's a pretty good price, I think, for after everything. Like, I mean, New South Wales have absolutely upgraded their squad for the most part. You would say, at least on paper. And so, given where they opened for Game 1, which is at around $1.60,
Yep.
it's a pretty reasonable price increase.
Yeah, and I kind of have similar sentiments to Soapy, whereas Queensland played as good as they could, and New South Wales couldn't play worse. That I don't see that happening again. So I do agree that New South Wales deserve to be favourites. The over-under is at 42.5. So if you remember last game, the score was 22-20 in less than ideal conditions. So that's something you look at there. I'm not sure what the Melbourne weather's looking like next week, but that is typically the Melbourne games are a little bit of a tighter contest, bar the last game there in 2024.
Yep.
So I feel like that's an interesting one. I can see a bit more points there. I feel like the teams generally click a bit more going into camp. Their combinations are more cohesive. So I can see some more points there. In terms of try scorers, my favourite pick from the game is going to be Brian To'o, who's just one try away from becoming the New South Wales all-time leading try scorer. So he's at $2.05 for an anytime try scorer. And if you like to play the first try scorer, he's at $9 with us. What are your thoughts on Bizza?
Oh, mate, it's hard because he was like a lock every time you do a multi for Origin. But the problem is that I had a $78 multi for game one with a whole bunch of legs. All of them were a lot tougher. The easiest leg was Brian To'o for anytime try scorer. It's the only leg that let me down.
I feel like he'll bounce back this game. He'll become the New South Wales all-time leading try scorer.
Hope so.
In terms of player of the match, so to no surprise, Nathan Cleary tops the market at $6.50. Followed close,
Wow. He was $5.50 for game one.
maybe the Moses factor coming in as an extra player responsibility. Who knows? I'm not sure what the traders think sometimes. But followed closely by Teddy at $8.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got Cameron Munster, Harry Grant, and Kalaponga, Sam Walker, all at $13. So I guess all the spine players there for Queensland, they can't really separate who's going to stand out the most.
Is Reece Walsh priced?
Yes, we do have Reece Walsh there. He's at $21. But I just don't see how he's going to.
crazy.
I just don't see how he's going to.
You're going to say like
impact
100
the game. So I'm not sure Reece's role, but my favourite for player of the match is the returning Payne Haas. So he's at
Always a good
$15. I feel like he could be the difference maker the Blues need in the middle. We were clearly exposed early in game one.
Yep.
So I feel like Payne Haas is going to be a huge difference maker. He's been in tremendous form. As you said, Broncos have been terrible, but his last two games he's ran for over 400 metres combined. So clearly he's able to push through the pain and, no pun intended, but and get the job done. So I feel like he's going to be a huge asset to the Blues, and he's my favourite for man of the match at $15.
All great bets. We had Payne Haas for 2025 player of the match game one and at $17, and that hit. You know, he's always a good candidate, always priced very well.
Correct. So he's like out of the last few Origins, typically been spine players that have won the awards. Tom Dearden, Nathan Cleary, Munster, but he was the last sort of non-spine player to win it. So I feel like Payne is a great bet. So if we get a little juicy here and we multi up all those bets there, we've got New South Wales to win, Payne Haas player of the match, and Brian To'o to score a try. That comes at $34.
And will we have injury protection?
Correct. So injury protection applies to State of Origin
Nice.
and all NRL games for this round.
Oh, that's good.
I'm just going to chuck up an example here from the Storm and Knights game where
see it.
Phoenix Crosland went down with a HIA in the first half. But luckily for this punter, Dylan Brown and Trent Liero were able to cross the stripe. So this bet was a winner thanks to our injury protection. So this was a nice juicy win there.
Very nice. What about in Clubland? Is there anything like, I know it's probably not the best outlook, but anything worth having a little sprinkle on at all?
So we've got the 5 games this round, starting off with the Broncos and Rabbitohs on Thursday night. So both teams have a couple of Broncos are clearly more affected with Origin players, but the Rabbitohs also still got Latrell Mitchell out, Cam Murray not playing. So that game, the Rabbitohs are currently favourites there at like $1.55. I feel like it's must win for both teams almost. Not so much Souths, but I feel like Broncos, it is literally must win territory now with their hectic draw coming up. Origin definitely is going to impact that, and the fact that they don't have much margin for error. I feel like Souths can still lose a game and still make the top 8. They have been poor of late. I think they've lost 3 in a row, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So a huge game for both teams on Thursday night. And then we'll go to Friday night, which I feel like would have been one of the best games of the season if it wasn't for the Origin period. We've got the Dolphins taking on the Roosters. So you could make an Origin 1-13 out of all the players missing from this game.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So Dolphins would be favourites there, and they're really pushing towards that top 4. Roosters are currently 3rd, so they'll, if they can pull off an upset win here, they'll clearly cement themselves in that top 4. But I feel like the Dolphins just got still a lot of class players. Still got Herbie playing, still got Isaiah Katoa. Jack Bostock. So a lot of talent there. So I feel like the Dolphins are a great bet there. And I feel like Herbie Farnworth and Jack Bostock can cause some damage because the Roosters have got, I think, Egan Butcher and like Reece Foley, who I don't know much about, playing in the centres. So I feel like you can't go wrong back in either Herbie or Jack Bostock.
We actually had a couple of bets last week that got pretty close as well. You had a try scorer multi that was very, very close.
Yeah, very close. I want to give you a shout out though. You were very close on your all the favourites winning prediction.
Yes.
Except the damn Broncos getting done by the Titans.
Had every single favourite taking it out, and it was every favourite except the Broncos. So very close. It was a $22 multi. I took them all as singles. You'd still be up. I noted you had the Tigers as a trap game against Penrith last.
Yeah, I've got to eat some crow there. That was a terrible call on my behalf. The Alex 12 factor, I did not factor that in.
The Alex 12 factor, that's a killer.
Whenever actually, I did see a stat. When Twally doesn't play, their defense does go to absolute crap. So
68 points crap, yes.
I think they got the Titans this week, and Drew was saying he's nervous about that because Titans always beat the Tigers at Leichhardt. If they can't beat the Titans at home after a 60-point nil drubbing, maybe it's time to pull the pin on the Tigers season.
Oh, man, I love this segment. Oh, goodness me. Well, I appreciate you jumping on, sharing all things odds with us. We will be on next week after Origin. We can look at the round coming up when NRL returns properly and maybe ahead at what Game 3 might hold.
Let's hope it's after a Blues win.
Well, I'm impartial on this episode, so we'll see everyone next week.
Cheers.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website